What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Perhaps the most exciting video of the season yet. We have the Legend run here. We have it. We were able to hit Legend on the stream. It was the Monday stream. You're watching on this on Wednesday when it came out. And we hit it with Mantine, Whiscash, and Shadow Gligar. If you don't, I know I usually get into the battles, but let me talk about team for a second, because I feel like if I'm going to showcase a Legend team that I used, I want to be able to put the information out there. So forgive me for a moment. I know usually we get right into the battles with Mantine. We put Water Pulse. I feel like Ice Beam and Water Pulse are interchangeable depending on what you're seeing more of. You see a lot of dragons, flyers, things that you would want Ice Beam for, right? Maybe it would be better off. I used it for the most part until I climbed up to the 2970s, and then I switched to Water Pulse. So use that as you will. I prefer the non-Shadow Whiscash for this team, not because I don't have a Shadow that I can even use, but the bulk on the Whiscash as my closer has been well enough, and it feels like the Scald and Mud Bombs have been hitting things hard enough. And then Shadow Gligar, I feel like you have to have the Shadow Gligar to really unlock the true potential of this team. That Shadow boost on Gligar really handles things so well. And I have what I would consider a luxury sort of Shadow spread. With you, if you have a 5 or 6 attack side in your Gligar, just sim it on PV Poke against the rank 1 Lickitung. If yours, and use like a rank 1 Shadow Gligar as a reference. If you get a breakpoint over the regular Lickitungs, right? So most high rank Lickitungs, on the wing attacks, you do 1 extra damage. That's what this 5 or 6 attack stat's going to do for you. So it's really good to be able to have that. But let's get into the games now. I've talked long enough. The team, really strong. I don't actually tend to play this team like an ABB team, despite it being double ground, because it's also double flyer. We hit a Nightmare lead in this first game, and a Nightmare swap in. This is like bad news bears. Worst case scenario, I'm not enjoying this one bit. And this is a 6-4, 2-3-2 sets, very sweaty battles, very strong opponents here. 9 consecutive Legend players, and then the final battle was against an expert who we were both battling each other for Legend rank. I safe swapped the Gligar against Steel and against Electric leads, because that's going to allow me to hopefully set up either for Whiscash or Mantine. Like somebody's going to be, I mean, I don't really need to draw something out. It's just that Gligar happens to be the safer thing, because if Whiscash gets matched up against a grass type, it's pretty Jover. I'm not going to lie. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get rid of this Skarmory, and I'm just hoping that my Whiscash can handle the backline as well. So as we see this battle unfold here, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It's free and it helps the channel. I see a Lantern come in here, and now we're going to bring in the Whiscash, and I feel like I have a chance. It's going to be difficult here, and I did slow down the gameplay a little bit so I can keep up with it better. I want to be able to try and, give my thoughts and everything on this. But whenever I go up against these Lanterns, 2 Mud Bombs with some Mud Shots is typically going to be enough to knock out. I have to save my shields. The Charger Bug has some energy. The opponent swaps out of their Lantern now with some energy loaded, so this is going to be very difficult, right? I have to block something, and then their Lantern's very close to a move. So I need to manage my energy on my Whiscash with the utmost care. Gonna go for this Scald. I shielded the first move because just in case I do get a Scald debuff here, I would like it to matter. And I do get the debuff, thankfully. I do very rarely get Scald debuffs, and I almost always am on the receiving end of them. Like, it's ridiculous how many I get. But for me here, the coin flip works, and I feel like I need to be able to catch a move here in X-Scissor in order to make something happen here with my Mantine. So because my Mantine really isn't going to have any more use in this game, that's kind of why I did this. Now I'm going to go for the Water Pulse here. This is going to do a fair chunk of damage. I'm only getting to 1 move, so I'm going to go for Water Pulse here for sure. That's going to do a fair amount of damage, puts this thing in about range for a Mud Bomb. And what I need to do here is I can no-shield this X-Scissor, because again, my opponent's attack is lowered. So now they go for the X-Scissor, and now they're going to go for another move, and I am forced to go for a shield here. Now, I know the Lantern is not quite at a move, and I win CMP, so I didn't know how much energy they had. This is the problem. And so I was hoping that this was going to be enough. I needed to leave myself within 3 of the Mud Bomb, and they live with 1 Mud Shot's worth of energy HP, and they're able to take me out. And this kills me, because if I just overfarmed by 1 more, I would have won CMP and probably won the game for it. But good game. Getting into the next battle here, we got Mantine on the lead versus an Annihilape. This is a really fantastic lead that I enjoy seeing here. Now, exactly the situation that I built this Shadow Gligar for. I built it specifically for this situation. Otherwise, up until this point, I was using a regular, like, just good IV Shadow Gligar. But what I do here is when I see the opponent have the Lickitung, I go for the Aerial Ace on the Mantine for chip, and then I come in with Gligar, and I just go straight for dig. And if they shield it, fine. If they don't, then even better. Because I'm still able to maintain switch in pretty much most cases with this matchup here. I am forced to give up a shield first here because I decided to overfarm. But if I'm able to maintain Mantine versus the Annihilape, I'm fine. And one of the things that happens quite often when you're battling opponents is if they have a bad lead or even a neutral lead and they swap out right away, that usually means that they have a better answer in the back, especially if they come in with something that's neutral, like Lickitung. Now, the opponent has a Skarmory in the back. Now, I'm fairly glad that Skarmory doesn't get matched up against my Gligar for the entirety of this matchup. I'm able to get 2 digs off here, which is really nice. The overfarm was crucial. It's always good to try to keep track of your opponent's fast moves and energy so that you can try to overfarm as much in a given matchup and use your energy to get into the next matchup going forward. Now, I'm coming in with Whiscash because this is definitely my preferred alignment here. The Gligar is gone, and Mantine is going to be good to deal with the the Annihilape. My opponent does make a nice catch here. They swap in the Annihilape, but the thing is that I still have a shield, which is pretty much what I need here, and my opponent gets the attack drop off the Scald, which is massive, and we're going to be able to farm this all the way down if I want to, but I go for an Aerial Ace here to force a shield off the opponent. If they really want to land this Shadow Ball, they have to shield for it, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Now, their attack was dropped, so I'm going to not shield this. I figured this is probably not worth shielding because the opponent can still land a Brave Bird and end my face, so I'm going to go ahead and farm down, and I'm going to actually go for Aerial Ace here, faking that Water Pulse. Maybe I should have just gone for it. I don't know. But basically, I'm just gonna try to get their shield and then go for Water Pulse, or just hit him with another Aerial Ace. One of the things, I can't cover every single lead. I'm only gonna cover these two sets here. But I do have a full write-up of this team in my Discord server, which I know, yawn, it's a paid Discord server behind Patreon, but the support is always really nice, and it helps me take care of my family. So that's kind of the, and you'll get a ton of good benefits here, as early access to videos, complete write-ups on my teams and upcoming metas as well. So it's just, there's a lot of value, and the community is one of the best I've ever been a part of. So aside from that, you can join it via the Patreon or YouTube membership, link in the description and pinned comment, as well as I do give coaching as well via Metafy, and I also off of Metafy technically too. But you can check the link in the description for the things that I offer there, as well as ways to get in touch with me for coaching if you wanted to get involved. So the next lead here is a Vigoroth, and I decide I'm just going to full send the Water Pulse because almost every other Vigoroth lead that I've ever played against doesn't shield the first move because they're expecting Aerial Ace. So this matchup's really awkward. You would think that because I'm a flyer into Vigoroth, like this is a good matchup. Ever since it got Rock Slide, it's actually not a great matchup. As soon as the opponent lands one Rock Slide, they can just go straight for Body Slam here. Now I'm going to be able to take lead here, and the opponent comes in with a Lurantis, and they're able to just farm me down before I get to the Aerial Ace. So this is very tough. I also don't know the counts for Leafage. I know the counts for Fury Cutter because I've played Lurantis with Fury Cutter before, but I've never played it while it has Leafage. So I am not sure what the counts are, but I imagine it's probably, 5 or 6 to a Leaf Blade. So that would put them here at about 10 total Leafages, and so they're the back-to-back moves. So they're going to throw this here, and I get my Wing Attack through, which is huge. I'm going to go ahead and shield the Gligar here, just because I feel like I need to. And then my opponent comes in with a Shadow Charizard, absolute Spice Lord here, playing some strong stuff after Legend. I try to go for Scald before the opponent gets to the Blast Burn, but I am not successful just due to the way that turns and pacing works. So, but thankfully it wasn't a CMP, so I'm able to farm up extra. I'm going to go for 3 so that they cannot get to a Dragon Claw, which would be 4 Wing Attacks from that Blast Burn. We're going to be able to take out the Kaboom! Taking out that Charizard. I don't have my button ready, so I'm able to get to a Scald here just before the opponent farms me down. And again, I don't know the counts for Leafage. At this point, I feel like they're at a Leaf Blade. I'm probably going to lose this game, and because the Scald just 1 HP. But Gligar comes in and clutches it because it is indeed 5 to the Leaf Blade. Very good game to my opponent, and love the spice. Getting into the next battle here, another Annihilape lead. I expect Licky safe swaps on pretty much all of these, so thankfully it's pretty consistent. But instead we get a Dugong. And yes, you look at this team, it's weak to Dugong. It's weak to Alolan Sandslash. It's not easy to deal with these two Pokemon, okay? I faced quite a few Alolan Sandslashes on my way up to this Elo, and I very, very seldomly won those games. It really came down to, do I get enough energy on Whiscash, and is their back line playable with Gligar and Whiscash? Because they typically have water types behind the Sandslash, like, you know, Azumarill and things. Now, when it comes to Dugong, if they safe swap it in, that's actually not a bad thing to have happen. I would much rather the Dugong be on the safe swap than in the lead, because at least I know that the Annihilape is back there, and I can plan for that. The Gligar is able to take care of the Annihilape if I need it to. Dugong is just such a pain, though, because I can't really swap here. My Whiscash will get hit immediately with an Icy Wind. There's not much that I'm able to do here, so all I can really do here is just keep going for Aerial Aces with Mantine. And timing is very crucial in matchups like this. Trying to get as much fast move damage in as possible. Now, I put up a second shield here. It was like an impulse thing. For some reason, I still think I had my second shield. In hindsight, this probably was better to let the Mantine go and farm a ton of energy with Whiscash, which is how I've played Dugongs in the past with this team. So if you get the situation, you know, consider it. But I had a feeling that, you know, my Gligar needed to be aligned to the Annihilape, which it technically does because there's a Skarmory in the back. So the alignment here is crucial. This is very nice alignment here. Opponent goes straight for the Brave Bird here, not screwing around. They go for into their Annihilape immediately. I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace right away because I want to force them to shield here. I need to get the shield off of them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have a Scald banked on my... I have a Scald banked, so if I can get these digs off, maybe the digs will do enough. No. The problem is that I was really hoping that they would try to shield the Annihilape there, and they didn't. That was a very, very good call by my opponent not to shield that. So Dig is going to do mediocre damage to the Skarmory. Unfortunately, you know, the Shadow is still better to handle this situation, but if the opponent wants to, they could just farm me down here and Brave Bird my Whiscash, and I lose. Now, they do CMP me here, which is a glimmer of hope, but they don't shield the Dig, as I figure they don't need to. So my best case now is, do I get up to a Mud Bomb before they can hit me with the charge move? So we're getting up to the Mud Bomb, second Mud Bomb almost, and they have a move. So unfortunate. I don't know if saving the shield I think saving the shield for the Whiscash in the end may have been the play, but it's hard to say in hindsight. So good game. Getting into our next battle here, we got Mantine on the lead versus Azumarill. Very neutral lead here. I can get out these Aerial Aces pretty quick, but Gligar's in the back, and I need to keep that away from the Azumarill here. Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Play Rough, doesn't matter. The bubbles add up very quickly, so on 7, I'm going to go for my Aerial Aces here, and I'm just going to continue to throw on good timing here, and that's going to be, and again, as I always, mentioned in my videos here, 1, 4, 7, and 10 is the optimal timing for you to throw your charge moves using a 2-turn fast move versus an opponent's 3-turn move. And I feel like this is one of the more crucial interactions for 2 turns. 2 turns, mastering the 3 and 5, mastering the 3-turn interaction and the 5-turn interaction, probably going to yield the best return on time investment, because most of the other ones are just kind of like, they're very simple, or there isn't timing involved at all. But that is one of the things that I do teach on Metafy. So if you're having trouble grasping timing, there's free videos out there. But if you want to get a one-on-one with somebody, I am one of the people who can help teach that. Now, my opponent, I'm counting their moves. I can't go for 4 here, because if I do, they'll be at an Ice Beam. So I need to go for it on 1 here, and the opponent lives just narrowly. I'm able to farm down here. And now they just come in with a Charge Bug, and I'm like, I got 2 things in the back to handle this Charge Bug. I'm going to come in with Gligar here, and the opponent is staying in. That is really unexpected, as I would have expected them to swap out. All the damage they have here is resisted unless they have Crunch, which they don't. They have X-Scissor, so they're staying in. I'm okay with this. I'm just farming energy. I'm going to throw a Dig here on my 3rd wing attack, as when you're throwing a 2-turn into a 4-turn, you just want to go on odds. Make sure that you're doing it in the middle of their move rather than at the end of the beginning. My opponent has a Skeleturge, and that's exactly why they didn't swap out of that lead with the Mantine, and that's going to be a good game. I find that some of the strangest leads that you would not expect stay in because they're weak in the back to Mantine. Getting into the next battle here. This is I think I win every lead in this last set, but I still I still have to play. So my opponent comes in with a Greedent, and it's got Bullet Seed. And I'm like, huh? What? So my thinking here is that I keep Gligar for the I keep Gligar for the Gallade, and I just stay in and win this matchup. You'd think you could. It turns out that what I should have done is I should have treated this just like Lickitung. I should have gone into Gligar at this point, and I should have started to use that and use that matchup to my benefit here, because they definitely have something else in the back that's good against Mantine. But that's kind of why I stayed in, because I figured if I can just align Gallade to the Gligar, then I'm okay. But in reality, I should have used Gligar to finish this matchup so that I could keep the alignment of Mantine on the Gallade, because it's just, Mantine into Gallade is going to end up being better overall because it's more bulky and can probably handle more moves. So that was my unfortunate mistake here, as in hindsight, obviously. Learning from your mistakes and learning from the things that went wrong is going to be a crucial thing for anybody, because now in order to get this alignment, I have to put both shields up, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to 2 moves, which I'm not, because it's literally 3 Bullet Seeds to a Body Slam. And then I think sometimes it's even just 2, which is, I mean, it's disgusting. Now, thankfully, I get the switch advantage that I need, and there's the Lantern. So Lantern now is in here. Whiscash is aligned to that, but my opponent has shield advantage, and shield advantage Gallade is going to be what's crucial for them here, because you're going to see how much damage these Leaf Blades do and why I'm in trouble. The Psycho Cuts plus the Leaf Blade, like the Leaf Blade itself, probably not going to do quite as much as it needs to, but the problem I'm going to have here is that it just 2 Psycho Cuts now knocks out. If I could have survived that 1 Psycho Cut, and if I had my better IV Gligar, I guarantee you I win this. I guarantee you, because it just has a little bit more HP. But now I have to come in with my Whiscash and a Leaf Blade. Dude, that's going to chunk so bad that I can't survive the Surf from the Lantern. And that in itself is where I've gone wrong here. Now, I go for 3, making sure that I get there before they get to another Leaf Blade, but I cannot in any form or fashion get to 2 moves before that opponent gets to their Lantern gets to a Surf. So this is a very much so over game. And again, in hindsight, like if I ever see this situation again, I know come in with Gligar and let it do its thing. Unfortunately, I don't know the matchup of Mantine versus Bullet Seed. Greedent. I imagine Mudshot's probably better, but that's all right. We take those and we learn. Good game. Getting into the next battle here. Mantine into Whiscash. Shadow Whiscash. This is a great matchup. We dominate this lead, and it's going to come down to what they swap in here. And they don't swap. They're staying in, which is absolutely wonderful here. I go for the Aerial Ace right away on 5 because a Scald is 6, and I would rather get this off before the opponent gets to their move. And sometimes they actually shield this if they stay in the lead. It's actually quite disgusting if the opponent invests shields, how close this matchup gets. You're not forced to shield anything until after the 3rd Scald, but it's just ridiculous how much damage is in this matchup. Now, thankfully, for once in my life, I don't get hit with a Scald debuff, and the opponent gets to the next move. At this point, I feel like I can simply just farm down, and whatever's in the back, I'm hoping that it's also weak to Gligar. But my Mantine's going to be plenty healthy, and they don't get the debuff again. We get the farm down, and that's going to prove to be really good here because the opponent comes in with a Lickitung. Now, I'm going to treat this. I'm going to treat this as though they have something in the back that is indeed weak to Gligar here. So, because I know that Lickitung is not the reason the opponent did not swap out here. So, I'm going to come in with my Gligar now, as we do get that break point with the Gligar here. So that's going to be an advantageous little extra thing in this matchup. And the opponent comes in with their own Shadow Gligar. So, because they had the Gligar in the back, I can see why they wouldn't want to swap out. But I feel like it would have been better for them to swap into the Gligar, at least, so that they wouldn't have had to sacrifice a Shadow Whiscash like that. At least that's my perspective. But, obviously everybody has, however they want to play. I have, my thoughts of how I would have done it. They have theirs. They land the dig here. At this point, I know that all I really need to do is get shield advantage, and I'm pretty sure that my Gligar can handle this right now. So, because the opponent, yeah, they just took the dig earlier. So this is going to basically, they're forced to shield off the opponent here, or they come back in. The Gligar is pretty much all they have left, and we do get the attack drop, which is really, really nice here. Not going to be able to get to a Scald, so I'm forced to just settle for the tiny chip damage of a Mud Bomb. But my opponent doesn't realize it's not a Scald, and they shield. which really sets me up here. I can send a dig at this Lickitung, and the opponent is not going to have much HP left after this. And all I need to do here at this point really is save the shields to deal with this Gligar in the back. Dig almost knocks out, and we're going to be able to... I can let this go. I've seen enough damage. I've seen enough times how much a body slam will do. I can let it go, and we're going to farm down. And at this point, I have 2 shields. All I have to do is get to the Aerial Ace, and we're going to take this game here. Opponent tries to go for the Hail Mary if he's going for a 2-shield flex or not, but I'm trying to climb to Legend, sir, and I am going to shield this and go for my own Aerial Ace here and take this game. Well played to the opponent. I'm telling y'all, dude, Mantine makes so many leads and backlines uncomfortable. It's ridiculous. Good game. Getting into the next battle here, Mantine on the lead versus another Shadow Whiscash. I will take these leads all day. And the opponent comes in with a Mandibuzz, and it's one of these situations where, like, I really, really just wish I had Ice Beam. Now, I don't really have a comfortable way to deal with this, so I'm going to kind of treat it like a Lickitung, so to speak. I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace when the opponent makes a swap in the beginning of the game that consumes 1 turn. So your timing into this move is going to be reduced by 1. So instead of 1, 4, 7, 10, it's 3, 6, 9, if that makes sense. Because you saw I threw 6 wing attacks before the Aerial Ace. Now, I shield here because it keeps me, I think it keeps me out of Scald range. I couldn't remember, honestly, in the middle of this battle if they had a Shadow Whiscash or a regular one. I know the regular one can't one-shot me, but I think a Shadow can with Scald, so maybe in the end, maybe this was kind of an unnecessary thing. But the other thing that shielding here does is it also forces the opponent to continue to go for Dark Pulse, whereas instead, if I let the Dark Pulse land, then they would have been able to just go straight for Aerial Aces afterwards. And if I have to shield something, I'd rather shield what I am expecting to be a Dark Pulse. Now, opponent swaps in, taking advantage of the misaligned switch timer, and my switch timer's coming up. My opponent's over farming, and I'm able to swap into my Mantine here to catch the Scald. And this is exactly what I needed to be able to keep my Gligar in this game. My Gligar has taken almost no damage at this point, and I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace immediately before they can get to another move here. If they want to keep the Whiscash alive, fine by me. They're going to have to shield to do it, but the opponent lets it go here, and they come in with the Charge-Bug, which is why they swapped, because they did technically have a better answer in the back, and Mandibuzz is neutral enough. So they didn't have a backline that was weak to Mantine whatsoever. But because they have Charge-Bug, I'm able to put my Whiscash on it. Now, I came in with Whiscash because if I'm going to put anything, you know, if I think about the alignment that's left in this battle, right? Gligar and Whiscash on my team, they have Mandibuzz and Charge-Bug. I would rather keep Gligar for the Mandibuzz and use up what's left of my Whiscash here. Now I just need to make sure that they don't catch a move. They just swap to try and combo play me. I'm going to let this go. If it's Dark Pulse and it KOs me, so be it, but it doesn't. And I'm able to get the Scald off, and this is going to be enough damage to knock out Mantine. I didn't think it was going to be enough. My Whiscash is pretty bulky, but once again, just kind of reiterating why I do actually prefer to have the regular Whiscash, because outside of a handful of battles, the bulk has been amazing. And honestly, Scald and Mud Bomb, they've got power buffs recently. They hit hard enough. Another Whiscash lead, I swear I will take this. These are not cherry picked. I promise. These are literally battles that all happen in a row. So I got lucky enough to get the Whiscash, but my opponent goes into their Mandibuzz once again, so I'm going to treat it the exact same way. I wanted them to throw the Dark Pulse here, but my opponent actually overforms by a lot here, which I'm still going to wait for them to throw one Dark Pulse, but unfortunately it makes the next part when I bring in my Gligar here a little bit more uncomfortable. Now, because they've lost so much HP by this point, it does help Gligar a bit. If I can just get my switch advantage here, I'm chilling. I just want to be able to keep my Mantine on the Gligar. Now, at this point, I'm still going to shield one. Gligar will be... The opponent did not have a Shadow Whiscash, so I do know that this is going to keep it out of Scald range. The opponent's Snarls don't do that much damage. So I'm going to be able to go for the Aerial Ace here, and we're going to do some good chip damage. The opponent goes ahead and lets that go, taking their shield advantage. At this point, I think I have to let this go regardless. The energy that I have, given that the opponent has none, I'm going to be able to get to at least a dig before they're going to be able to get to a Scald here. So even though their Whiscash is going to take me out, I'm still going to be able to maintain my switch advantage here, keeping my Mantine on their Whiscash. It's going to come down to what's in the back. I just faced a Charger Bug in the back, so I'm kind of thinking maybe that might be what's in the back, so we'll see. If it's Charger Bug in the back, I'm fine. The opponent goes for the Scald. I go in with the Mantine, and I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here. Well, I was going to try to before they got to the Scald, but I think I might have miscounted, or I was just trying to farm energy. But I should have gone for it right away there to prevent the debuff, because now I'm debuffed, and that's not going to be very helpful. Now I'm going to go for an over farm here right before they may get to a move. And then I'm just going to go ahead and hopefully see whatever's in the back. And what they have in the back is going to be an Alolan Shadow Ninetales. Now, the correct play here probably would have been to swap out, because I could have, and save the energy on Mantine when I could clear the debuff. But my opponent does shield the move anyway, so at this point, yeah, okay, Shadow Whiscash would have been nice here. I'm going to shield up a move because I feel like this is going to be the hardest hitting thing left in the game. The opponent has their Mandibuzz in the back. I'm waiting for them to swap it in. I'm fully expecting them to do it. Make sure I throw on good timing here, and that prevents them from swapping out because they'll be in the middle of their move. And I just need to make sure that I'm able to Scald the Mandibuzz when they swap it in, which I feel like they're going to do, and they do it right here. So I over-farm. I'm not farming down, so I'm forced to throw on Mud Bomb here just to make sure that they can't get to another move. And now, all I can do is hope that this Scald is going to be enough, because they are at the Weather Ball here, and I am not going to be able to get any more fast moves in. This is it. Scald going through. It doesn't knock out, but they're not at the move. Can we farm down? No. No, we can't. Very unfortunate. Not even the Scald debuff is going to be able to allow this Weather Ball, or live this Weather Ball. So very good game to the opponent. Was not expecting Shadow Ninetales in the back. Our final game here, the decisive game. We're 2-2 in the set. We need a 3-2, and we see another Whiscash, and it's staying in, which is exactly what I need to see here. I'm going to play it just like I've played all the other ones. We are going to see the Whiscash is going to stay in. I don't know what is in the back, but something in the back is weak to Mantine. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's maybe it's a flyer. Maybe they don't, maybe it's Gligar. They could have Gligar in the back. That would be pretty uncomfortable for a Whiscash lead. So I'm just gonna, do what I can, win this lead matchup. I'm not shielding anything. I'm getting Scald debuffed, which does feel pretty uncomfortable here. But it is what it is, right? There's nothing much I can do about that. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm throwing my moves right before they get to their Scalds, and we're gonna see what happens after this. The opponent is gonna get another freaking Scald debuff. I'm gonna go for just one shy of their Scald here, and I'm gonna go for the Aerial Ace and see what happens now. If they want to shield, fine. I'll shield back, but they don't shield. They let the Whiscash go, and in comes a Talonflame. Okay, we're throwing on 7 because that's going to get us to the Water Pulse right before they finish their third Incinerate. So that's going to be huge. What is in the back here that doesn't like Mantine? Because Talonflame does not normally just come into a Mantine. So there has to be another thing in the back that could be weak to my Mantine. I don't know what it is, but my opponent's going for Flame Charge. They're trying to ramp up their damage here. Still 2 shields, 2 shields. My opponent staying in against the Whiscash. What is in the back? I don't know, but they're staying in, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let the first one go. I figure if it's one boosted fly, I'm fine, but they go for a Flame Charge, and now I'm going to start shielding, of course. Going for the Mud Bomb here. I mean, this should be enough to knock out, but they shield the Mud Bomb too. What is in the back? I don't know, man. I know, you probably half of you know because you saw me do this on stream, but literally, I'm sitting here. Why would you double shield a Talonflame like this? What could possibly be in the back that you don't want? And this trainer is also an expert. We're both sitting in the upper 2980 range, trying to hit Legend right now. I need to know what's in the back because I need to be able to plan. My Whiscash is getting pretty low here. The opponent's Talonflame goes down. They have a Skeleturge in the back, and they don't want to play it out. And that's a good game, and that's going to be the 3-2. Now, is it enough for Legend? Because I was like 13 points shy of Legend. Let's see. We're going to claim the rewards. We're going to hit the button. Is it enough? It's 3005 ELO. Let's go. Huge run after sitting just under Legend for 3 whole days here. Able to get the whole wardrobe for the 78th time this season. That's okay, because we also get the pose to show for it. And man, this has been a ride. I'm gonna be honest. This was a ride, and I hope that this video was helpful for those of you who'd like to run this team. I thought about putting, you know, a bunch of battles together from using the team, but I figure I leave my recordings up from my my streams. Figured it would be better to go through my thought process of what I was thinking in the moment while I was playing the actual 2 legend sets. So I appreciate the support of the chat and everyone who watches the videos. And again, please, you know, subscribing to the channel is free. Please do so. It helps support the channel. Hit like on the video if you haven't already and you like the content, because I'm definitely looking to do more. And I'm really ecstatic because now it means that I get to try and be a little bit more creative and fearless with the teams. Not because I don't care, because it's going to help me make more teams that matter to the people that watch these videos because they want to get team ideas, right? So we're going to continue on as we have been. It just means that I can be a little bit more free and not as angry when I don't win the game, but that's okay. Hopefully you're doing well on your climb, even if you're, you know, in the ace range, veteran range, or if you're pushing legend right now. I wish you the best, and I hope that you're able to achieve your goals. And I, you know, just thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.